September 20th, 2010. This is Diehard Gamer Radio Show 97.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go.
You are listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Well, welcome back to Die Hard Gamer Radio. I am Murdock, and with me is Steve, John, and Brian. And we've used up all the funny. There's no more funny left. So you'll just have to deal with just a plain old dull podcast this time around.
Well, I guess we should start with some news then.
Yeah.
Way to promote the podcast.
Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to lower their expectations.
Is that possible?
If it wasn't for those crazy kids, we might have gotten away with it all.
Oh, yeah. It was Old Man Rogers in the planetarium. Oh yeah, he was dressed up as the swamp monster. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay. So first up, a sequel to a successful franchise, Ninja Gaiden 3, which is awesome for the one or two people that actually played Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yeah, I took it out of the box. That's about as far as I got with it.
Well, small steps.
Well, now that they've lost their lead designer, I think Ninja Gaiden might lose its focus on what made the series great.
And what did make the series great?
It was pretty obvious. Bounced,
That's Dead or Alive.
Yeah. Did you watch the cutscenes in Ninja Gaiden?
There were cutscenes?
Play. Using words.
For more of Steve's farm animals.
He's like the little speak and spell.
The animal farm of video games.
Oh. Now that's a $1 million Amero idea right there.
Yeah.
Animal Farm.
The video game.
Yeah. For the PSP.
Yeah.
That'd be anything like the book.
Be a visual novel.
They become an uprising and take over the farm.
Yes, it's going to be a visual novel. They're going to personalize all the animals with Moe characters.
Yeah. It'd be just like, it'd be Hetalia except with Animal Farm.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Gynax is ready to buy that property from you.
Yes, I'm sure they are.
So, no love for Ninja Gaiden 3 other than... Are you looking forward to it? I played halfway through Ninja Gaiden 2 and got really bored with it.
I can't justify it until I play the second one. And then maybe I'll buy it and watch it for a year or two.
Keep it in the shrink wrap.
Put it on the shelf up in the list of other ones I haven't played. I pulled out my Wii the other day to play Sin and Punishment. It was a couple weeks ago, but I started playing Sin and Punishment, and I'm like, this is really cool. I'm glad I bought this. And then I looked up at the stack of my other Wii games, and I had more of them that are wrapped than unwrapped. And I've got like 15 games. I was like, where the hell did I buy even half of those? Because I didn't play the system for all of a year. It just sat on my shelf, and all the games sat there. And I was like, well, I got great deals on a lot of these games.
And it probably updated more firmware updates faster than the PlayStation.
No, I haven't found that little USB wireless deal, so I haven't updated shit on it.
What?
Well, I got the little wireless, back when the DS came out, they put a little wireless USB you could plug into your PC, and it would send wireless to your DS. Well, they made it so you could use the Wii with that, too. So I was using that wirelessly for the longest time, but then I pulled that out one day to fix the system or something, and I haven't seen it.
Had wireless out of the box.
Yeah, it is wireless. But, I didn't have wireless in my computer back then, so I had to buy that little USB deal. And I'm wireless now, but I haven't set it up for the Wii, for the new wireless, so it's just kind of sitting there.
So apathy all around, really.
Yeah. I'll probably find it later when it's totally useless, but...
Well, when the Wii 2 comes out.
You gotta let video games age,
It's like wine.
It's like cheese,
So you have
the only downside is they just devalue.
So does cheese, actually, after a certain point.
The only upside is that while they devalue, they don't devalue beyond a point because they're still wrapped, so I can still eBay them for a certain price.
Well, that's why you're supposed to buy them cheap.
Yeah, I think I bought half of these for $30 or less, so at least.
All right, so next up, Devil May Cry comes back as a reboot of the franchise, which I don't know if that interests anyone.
Not really.
I saw the
so
redesign for Dante, so it doesn't interest me.
4 was a piece of shit, so.
The folks on IRC that I know that love this sort of thing, they were looking at it going, So.
Well, it's because they played 3 and they're like, this is awesome, and then 4 came out and they're like, this is hard and stupid.
I guess much like Ninja Gaiden, it really didn't make the leap to next gen.
By the way, there is thunder and lightning outside, so God disapproves of our podcast.
Well,
Or Devil May Cry.
yeah.
That
timing
seems the
was
more
pretty-
likely explanation.
I'll go with that.
All right. So next up, Shadows of the Damned announced, which is a psychological action thriller from EA partners, Grasshopper manufacturers, Suda51 and Platinum's Shinji Mikami, which I believe that would interest you, John.
Well, it'd be interesting to see whether or not Suda51 can be hammered into something more reasonable by having to work with somebody else.
I doubt that.
It seems possible.
Only time will tell.
Yes. So next up, Valkyria Chronicles 3 for the PSP, which would interest, I don't think anyone, because I played Valkyria Chronicles, found it obnoxiously difficult, like really, really difficult to the point where the game was not fun. And kind of like, this is really more effort than it's worth.
Shouldn't have to struggle that much in a game.
I mean, I do like my hard games, but this one was just like just really, really hard.
It's just tedious and redundant. It's repetitive. And
Well,
you have to struggle so hard just in a battle. That's
Yeah.
why I kind of stopped playing it,
Now,
too.
I do like the character designs, and women that do cosplay as the characters from Valkyria Chronicles are highly relevant to my interest. I thought I would just add that part to it.
I'm not sure why they put this series to the PSP. I mean, these
Cheaper
long,
to develop.
drawn-out tactical games seem like a really
Yeah.
poor match for handheld systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disgaea is on the PSP when, the PSP has a battery
I
life
think
of
they're
15
just
minutes.
At,
I mean,
they're
come
to
on.
that point where they're grasping at straws, trying to get anything on the portable system that they can to compete because they just don't have that big of a library and they're not putting that many games out on a constant.
It seems like they did a bunch of PS2 ports, so I wonder if there's just the developers that didn't want to move up from the PS2 just started making the same games for the PSP.
Could be easier.
Or cheaper.
Or they were stuck in some contract that said you will make X number of games for the PS2, and they didn't get it out in time. It's like, guess what, buddies? Now you're making PSP games.
It doesn't matter where you go, but
There
any
is
game
no
store you go to or
escape.
any big box store you go to, the PSP section is always tiny.
Yeah.
Or
There's
it's
a
big,
PS
but it's full of a bunch of really early shit that nobody wants anymore.
Yeah.
There's a PSP section? Is
Well,
that like by the laser discs?
Yeah. There's always been a PSP section, and it's never been big.
Oh.
So
So
except the discount ones, like you go into like
Yeah.
GameStop
Yeah,
and
but
they've got
but
like
they're
5 PSP games
but
for
they're-
$20,
yeah,
and you're
but they're
like,
movies.
You look down below it, and there's
Yeah.
like 100.
Yeah.
And there's like 10 copies of each.
yeah.
Yeah, there's five.
Oh, and
there's
then there's another 30 copies of movies.
yeah.
Because nobody could get rid of those.
There's 5 different games and then 20 copies of Dodgeball at Underdog
Yeah.
Story.
Or Crazy Taxi.
So next up, Eco and Shadow of the Colossus coming to PS3 in HD and 3D, which probably won't interest any of us because I believe we own these games already.
Well, I'm
I gotta
even
finish those
interested in this
too.
one because I'm hoping we get the European version of Eco. Because there were significant differences and extensions on the European version. that
Yes,
we
the
never saw.
European version was more pretentious. Oh wait,
There was actually
Smelled more like wine and cheese.
there was a whole puzzle section they cut out of the game.
Yeah.
The lightsaber was in the European version, and there was an extended ending.
Well, what the fuck?
So if they bring that stuff over to the PS3 version, I'll be excited to give that a try.
plus I'm sure Shadow of the Colossus in HD would be relevant to your interest.
I don't know if that one's going to be any different.
It'll have move support.
Ooh. I did find out there is a game that I've been waiting for that they were waiting for move support. The PS3 release of No More Heroes. Apparently they held back until the move came out, so we ought to be seeing that finally.
Weird.
Oh, great. So you can waggle your way through another game.
Well,
And
but it
stop
was
and
originally
recalibrate.
developed in Japan to use the controller, so the controller control should be fine,
Huh.
So they're just gonna put a patch in for move support.
I imagine.
Well, the nice thing is that PS3 is region free.
Well, but the Japanese PS3 version is censored. The Japanese Xbox 360 version isn't.
Huh.
So I'm hoping we get the uncensored version.
This is
for the
much
proper
harder than it
platform.
should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you got to decipher the puzzle before you decide which game to bring over. So,
Yeah.
but if I can't.
Time to import that Xbox 360 or buy a Wii.
Or wait for them to release it on the PS3 over
We
here.
might be waiting a while. Ubisoft, get on that.
I don't think Ubisoft has the rights for it because
Not
Ubisoft
anymore?
actually passed on the PS3 release.
Oh.
So I think Sony might actually be publishing it, and that's how it ended up with the whole move thing.
That makes sense. Okay.
Well, I'm sure Sony will find a way to screw it up.
Well, yeah.
They do have an impressive track record on that matter.
They may very well bring over the goddamn censored version.
Well, no, they'll just give it to the Gran Turismo team.
Yeah. Kill two birds with one stone.
But you would be able to see all of the internal workings of that lightsaber and tweak them with many different customizations.
That's great.
It'll have great crash physics and everything.
Yeah, in 2018.
I was amazed to see that one of the many things that Gran Turismo 5 supports is a completely accurate and drivable VW transporter bus.
Oh,
So their
great.
effort has really been going.
Hey, at least
into
they
the
finally
appropriate
added
direction.
crash damage, so they're getting realistic at least.
Wow.
It's about fucking time. They're like 3 years behind the curve.
I understand it's actually going to release for this holiday season.
Yeah, it's coming out. It was October 26th. I think it's like November 1st now.
Believe it when it actually goes on a shelf.
That's what I told the guy I asked him what's the release date, and he told me that, and I was like, "You want to pre-order?" I was like, "Nah, I think I'm gonna wait this one." I've been waiting a long time.
I never thought there was a real chance that Duke Nukem Forever might come out first.
Are we putting money on this now? Which one's going to come out first?
Let's call Vegas and see what the odds are.
The funny thing is, Duke Nukem's gone through 3 companies, and
At
Gran
least.
Turismo's still in the first. I really wanted to import Gran Turismo 5. I mean, I looked at the pre-order for that. I'm like, that's some really cool shit. And I looked at the price. I'm like, that's some really stupid shit.
How much is it? How much is
I
import?
think it was like $400. It was
What?
It was like $300.
Does it come with the
300 plus.
PlayStation 3?
No.
What?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, what the hell are they thinking?
What does it come with that it's $400? Does it come with like your own race gal or something?
I was
Yeah.
thinking it better be like a brick with your name on it or something. Kind of like they do with the Pepsi Center.
You get a race queen, just add water.
I know. I remember there was a miniature car and a behind-the-scenes book, and I'm like, yeah, this is not that cool
It comes
for that
with your
price.
own. It comes with your own hikikomori that will play the game while you're at work. Just add water.
Yeah.
When I come home, I want 5 new cars, bitch.
Yeah.
I want one of them to be really fast.
All right. So next up, Dead or Alive Dimensions, Nintendo 3DS fighting game, and John's already giggling about this.
Oh, you can't help but giggle at the jiggles.
Speaking of Piranha 3D, I think this was the same marketing angle.
So Dead or
Yeah.
Alive in 3D, this may be epic winner, epic fail. My comment was, I'm setting my age to 99 for this one.
I don't know if you can handle the age in
Yeah.
3D. You might come away with virtual black and blue eyes.
I still
kidding.
I don't get fighters on handhelds. I don't get them.
Dead or Alive just has a long tradition of making up for its shallow gameplay by being the first one on a new console.
Uh-huh.
It's like the Ridge Racer of fighting games.
There's no real
Yeah.
quality there. It's just speed.
It's the wipeout of
Well,
fighting
it
games.
was a PS2 launch title. It was an Xbox launch title, right? Or maybe not an Xbox launch
It wasn't
title. It
a
was a
launch title,
360
but it
launch
was
title.
yeah.
And the first one did come out on the Saturn, so but I don't think it was the launch title.
Launch title.
No, it wasn't a launch title.
But the the Xbox one was a launch title. And it did suck, by the way. I just want to
Well, so many people bought it.
Well, there's that, but the difficulty level, once again, was obnoxiously difficult. It's like, okay, the computer is reading every single one of my moves. This is not fun.
Yeah.
And it's just not a very good fighting system.
Well, there's that.
It's not great. You're pretty much waiting for the boobs bounce and for you to toss people through.
And the 360
objects.
was, the big thing on the 360 was it had all the breakable areas, and you could drop from huge areas down to other areas.
Which isn't fun when you spend the game still. Do I throw or counter? We'll just keep countering.
Yeah.
That's
What did I just play recently? I played a fighting game where you could do that where you fell, but you could hit each other going down, and you could flip back and forth with that. That was really fun. I don't remember what that was.
I know what you're talking about. I remember watching the trailers for it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, though.
So what do you think's going to happen when you blow into the mic in this game?
It was Mortal Kombat versus DC. That actually was pretty cool. I thought that was a neat thing where you're actually fighting on the way down during your descent.
John wanted to know what would happen if you blow into the mic during Dead or Alive. I don't have a witty answer for that. I will task my writers to come up with a witty answer for that, and I'll get back to you later.
Where they jiggle in the wind?
Yeah,
Then it'll be an upskirt.
skirts blow up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's probably what it's going to be.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be some...
Is it going to be like a 3D slap in the face, too?
Combat skirts, of course.
No, they'll just wait for the next Dead or Alive beach resort game or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, Dead or Alive goes to, I don't know, TGS on your
St.
Nintendo
Lucia.
DS. They'll probably go to St. Michael's
Bahamas.
Academy first. All right, so next up, news for Brian: Steel Battalion heavy armor for the Xbox 360 via Kinect. Wait, what?
Yeah, that opening video for it was pretty cool. I was like, man, I want to play this all over again.
So how is this better than a controller with 150 buttons?
Cost less.
How is this even going to work?
You know what really ticked me off is I found out Bakadon told me this, that they had a Steel Battalion championship at PAX. It was a 4 versus 4 team.
Why does that piss you off?
I was like, well, damn, I would have gone if I'd known about it. Just for that, because that was totally cool.
I do wonder how this is going to work. Is this going to be you standing in front of your television and stomping on, virtual cardboard buildings, which would be pretty awesome.
Have you seen Minority Report? This is where we're going with this.
So basically, when you win a match, a little wooden ball will come out of your television.
Gorilla arms engage.
I want to see this for Jurassic Park. You get to be the T-Rex.
No, a Godzilla game.
Yeah.
They need to bring back what was the Neo Geo monster?
King of the Monsters.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
It'll be like the Godzilla game that was out for the Dreamcast.
Maybe we could get Rampage.
Yeah.
What now?
Rampage.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea.
That 4-player Godzilla on the. Was it Dreamcast or was it the 360?
I think the Dreamcast
GameCube was the one that played it on. I think that was like the Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah, that was but it came out on multiple platforms.
Well, no, that's a different one. The Dreamcast one was 1-player one. It was like an over-the-shoulder
one.
Godzilla one.
I think it was only the
one
was the one I was thinking of.
I only
think
ever saw a bootleg of it. I remember playing the one you're talking about because I had the dude who was butt raping everybody. He was like the Ghidorah guy who jammed his stinger up people's ass.
Definitely GameCube.
Yeah.
So coming soon for the Kinect, Rampart.
Yeah.
Which actually, I don't know. So
they just did a redo of that for some platform.
Yes, they did, but I don't know
which. XBLA or something. I remember seeing the shiny new graphics and going,
might have been
I don't know if that was worth the effort. That might have been.
So next up, HD Burger Time.
It's probably for the iPad. They need all the games.
Where you have to pick up the burgers by hand from the Kinect.
Yeah.
So next up, Phantasy Star Online 2 announced for PC only, which would interest no one.
No.
My interest died in this game like 3 years ago.
Well, I think it's great that they're making Phantasy Star in ways that nobody cares about Phantasy Star.
They just
put out a Phantasy Star.
Yeah, they just have to run it into the ground.
Well, make a Phantasy Star.
They gotta make another one.
Make an RPG Phantasy Star. It's been 20 years. I'm thinking there's some nostalgia available for that.
None of those people are left.
I don't think Sega
those
can.
Programmers are gone.
They can't make a Sonic the Hedgehog. What makes you think that they can do an
that
RPG?
new Sonic game looks fucking awesome, man.
Are we
probably
talking
gonna pick that up.
the 2D one? Or are we talking Sonic Colors?
3D one. maybe it's
He's
colors.
still
It's all
on the
2D.
upside of the Sonic cycle.
Yeah, no, this one looks cool. It is 2D, and then it goes to 3D, and then it goes back and forth, kind of like that Mario game was, where you went from 3D to 2D.
It's like Sonic Wisps or Sonic.
Yeah, there's some weird
Sonic
name to
colors
it,
or whatever.
Yeah, it looks really cool though. I saw the demo for it. I was kind of excited.
Sonic with lime.
It's like giving
something.
the old 2D games as fast as they were, especially like Sonic CD. That game was really fast. It's like doing that and giving you that 3D option on the fly.
It's blast processing.
Blast, yeah, parallax scrolling.
Yeah. Mode 7
Mode
Sonic.
7, yeah.
You can see his ass hit you.
Do we want to add more technical terms? Super FX.
yeah. I can't remember any of the other console buzz terms other than
Parallax scrolling with aliasing.
No, but we could do Jaguar math.
Oh, yeah. If you add the bus, doesn't matter what's on the bus, it's 64 bits.
Yeah.
It's a 64-bit system. There's nothing on the bus itself that is 64 in any way, shape, or form, but the bus is 64 bits wide.
Yeah.
So it's a 64-bit system.
Exactly.
Yeah, great.
Somebody just stamped one of the chips with a 64 and then officially made it.
Well, there were 64 little lines that ran, that you could hook up to your components through, and there you go. What more could you want?
The 64 is also the total amount of games that came out on the Jaguar, so...
I think you're exaggerating.
Okay.
Yeah, by 2?
Maybe. So next up, news for John. Radiant Silvergun on XBLA confirmed. New version features online co-op, updated graphics, and a new Ikaruga mode, which will probably make the game 5 times harder.
Jeez.
Huh.
But
Did they really
possible
need
to play on a new system?
Do they really need an Ikaruga mode when you can just have Ikaruga?
Yes, that's
okay.
true.
If it's like a $12 game or less, maybe I'll pick it up, but...
Yeah, but you already own the Saturn version.
I know, but it's going to look really good, and it's going to be easier to play on...
Yeah, but see, this makes us elite because we actually own the physical copy.
Yeah,
You
but
could be elite and still buy a new copy of it.
No, you can't.
What happens when your Saturn dies? Now you can get it for a system that works.
My Saturn will
Never die. That's some great denial going you got going on there.
on right here.
Hey,
The worst plan is that
long
his
as I
Saturn
have-
is still hooked up to his television.
Well, that is a bad plan.
It is, and I play.
Mine's in front of it, but I still haven't hooked it up after I rebuilt everything.
I do have my Saturn emulator that I play my discs on.
Well, if your disc goes bad.
But,
BitRot does exist.
Who says I'm playing the actual copy of the disc?
Well, you could play it on a system that works, then you wouldn't have to use the
Would you
cursed
stop
PC.
that? Would you stop installing fear in me?
A cursed PC emulating. You could play it on a supported system
All right.
by a
And you get
supported publisher.
achievements.
Yeah.
What are you working for, Microsoft?
Yeah, but my physical copy doesn't have DRM.
Well,
So when
what are you going to
XBLA
try to
goes
get
away-
it off of? You're trying to get. What are you going to get? How are you going to get that game off of your 360 anyway?
I'll
even if you
find
want-
out a
you'll
way.
Find a way.
So
No,
anyway,
he'll find out a way.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure Radiant Silvergun is relevant to your interest, John.
It'd be fun to be able to play.
I do like the online co-op option too. That's pretty cool.
Are there lowlies in this game?
No.
Oh, well, I'm not. I don't care about
There's-
non-lowly
No, it's a
shooters.
real shmup.
Huge polygons.
By the way,
Yeah, they must have done something there because, HD would be like playing Super Mario Brothers an
Maybe
emulator.
like playing an
in
Atari
HD.
game, like Combat.
It
Yeah.
would be nice if they did some polish on it, yeah.
Eh.
It's going to be worth it for that alone if it's just crisper and then you
well,
get the
it'll be worth
online
it to
mode, too. I
John
think
because
it'll
then
be
he
cool.
doesn't have to spend $400 on a game.
Or
a
a
Saturn.
400.
Yeah,
Or a Saturn for that matter.
It's barely over 2.
that's used.
Although I wonder how the market looked after the announcement. There might have been a dip.
I don't know about
it
that.
doesn't generally affect that game because it's still so short printed that
Yeah.
people will still pay for that original copy.
I think it was Racket Boy or Rocket Boy. It's a website. It's a video game website, and
I think it's Rocket Boy.
Yeah, Rocket Boy. And they were talking about when games become digital and how it affects the pricing of actual used games. And they noticed that for the most part, there's a pretty big drop off as to the pricing of the actual physical copy once the digital copy comes out, but not so much for import games. So
a lot of import games
Okay.
because they were import only. Yeah,
like for
So
example,
you have
even
to
more
be so
short-printed.
crazy to want the import one that the fact that you can own it in an easier and more convenient format doesn't enter into the equation.
It's more
Yeah.
the collector point or
yeah, like for
collector
example,
mindset at that
for
point.
example, when Castlevania Rondo of Blood came out as
Yeah,
a
on the PSP.
download, well, and it's a download on the Virtual Console on the Wii,
Yeah.
and the price didn't drop on that game at all.
Geez, that game is more short printed than Radiant Silvergun was, though.
Yeah,
It's ridiculously hard to find.
so who knows?
That's like Sapphire.
Yeah, let's not go over Sapphire's $600 game right there. Well, I think it's a little bit less. Next up, APB shuts down after 2 weeks. Okay,
Should we send out a bulletin?
yeah, let's send out APB. Oh,
Hey-oh, right in the kidney.
I
So-
liked there was some comments about this, about how it wasn't surprising that a studio that had never done a multiplayer MMO, anything like that, would result in making a buggy MMO that only lasted half a year. So
half a year? Isn't that being generous?
it was around half a year. I remember
after you spend-
distinctly 3 or 4 months of people complaining about how buggy
Did it last longer than that? What was that MMO racing game?
Auto Assault only
Yeah.
lasted about 2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, that failed miserably.
right on par.
Yeah.
But did last a little bit shorter than, I don't know, Tabula Rasa?
Tabula Rasa lasted, I think, almost a year.
Mmm.
Would have lasted less if, Garriot's trip into orbit had been sooner.
Yeah. So,
Although
Backstabbers!
APB,
He got
what
some
it
money
was,
for that, though, so
Real-time Worlds, right? I think they've
Yep.
already been bought by Gearsoft, if I remember right.
I don't know about that.
yeah.
I believe it was the who are the Borderlands developers, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they'll have fun doing whatever it is you do with the dead MMO license.
I have to wonder. I mean, it seems weird that the standout feature APB was the character customization you spend 30 minutes with at the beginning of the game.
That was not unlike City of Heroes. City of Heroes does. There's a ridiculous amount of character customization available in City of Heroes, and
It was ridiculous to start with. and
Yeah,
then all
I
the
can only
expansions
imagine
came
it's
out,
worse
and I was
now.
like, geez, I don't want to go back to that.
So I wonder if that poor bastard that got signed up for that contest that was, customize a real life person like an APB person actually got through all the steps. As the first one was the haircut, the second one was the nose rig, and I think the third bit was the tattoo. Wonder if it got there.
Probably not. So I'm sure this interests no one.
well, I mean, I wanted to play it, but every time I looked at the website, the tweets were about bugs, and so they had a little applet up for Twitter. And it was their mentions. It was the mentions search for it, and every one of them was like, "Fuck this game." Like, whoa! I don't know if you want that on your front page, guys, but it never went away. So,
All right. So next up, Disgaea 4 announced for PS3 in 2011, which is good timing as there will be people who are just now finishing the very first Disgaea. So,
We'll see whether or not NIS goes under before it comes
yeah,
out.
no kidding. What they lose like 90% of their? They had like a really really huge loss.
It's been a bad couple of years for them. Yeah, I think the last year was down. Profits were down 90%.
Yeah.
well, that'll dampen.
Yeah,
your
but
mood.
then who's going to create my
Your
lowly
programmers.
RPGs now?
Well, you'll have to stick with lowly shooters, lowly shmups.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I really want to build
Well,
up their levels.
It
know?
is Japan. I'm sure you'll be able to.
I want to level them up.
It is Japan. I'm sure someone will fill the void.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know. We'll see if things are
Atlas
changing
is-
after that.
Yeah, Atlas is still
after
in
that,
business, so
Fallout New Vegas Japanese ad.
What was that? I didn't see that.
I forwarded it to everyone.
It was a Japanese designed ad to get the JRPG crowd.
Oh,
They had all
really?
these signs about tired of the same old, or tired of losing this or that, or you want to play something that's actually different and creative, or
Want to play something that's not running down a hallway for 30 hours?
yeah.
Yeah, when you
But it was all done by Japanese people, And
yeah
it's
when
supposed
we're
to
done,
catch
you
that
got to check out
crowd.
the ad. It's pretty funny.
I must have missed that email.
Not very creative.
I did finally finish Fallout 3's main storyline.
Ah,
You're about 20 hours ahead of me.
Did you know that you were done with the main storyline before it went into?
I kind of was a little surprised that it was that was the end that quick. Granted, I had played, like, I wrote the comic about that. That was about me. Mm-hmm. I was about 40 hours into the game. I just hadn't gotten around to doing the main storyline yet.
Yeah.
So I was like level 24. Mm-hmm. You know, I had all the named plasma rifle and all the Hellfire armor and the big super mutant dude with the Gatling laser. And so it was just like, oh, okay, I have to go kill some Enclave guys. One shot at everybody through the whole thing. And then, oh, it's the end? Oh, I just send this guy to go... the game's over. Huh. Well, okay. And something was really weird, too, with that.
So you already had Brotherhood of Steel installed, too, so you got the alternate ending.
Well, I did not the first time.
Ah.
I had installed the Game of the Year stuff and everything and all the extra stuff.
Right.
The first time, I did not wake up after 2 weeks. It just ended the game. I had to go in, and when I tried a different ending, I sent the super mutant dude to do it.
Right.
And then you wake up 2 years later.
Right.
Or 2 weeks later. But the other ending, the first ending of you just wandering in and punching in yourself, that you're supposed to wake up 2 years later if you have 2 weeks later if you have the expansions.
Right.
No, I just died.
Huh.
It was kind of weird.
Oh, by the way,
but it's a buggy game, so
By the way, spoiler
alert.
alert.
Be intentional that the first time you beat the game, you see the first ending.
Yeah. Well, and it was actually, it's kind of the expansions are kind of buggy in the Game of the Year one too, because you get Three Dog has a lot of radio things that wouldn't happen until you completed the main storyline that he talks about.
Huh.
And so, like, there's some trigger that's messed up in there. But once again, it's a buggy game.
Yeah.
So it's really buggy on the PC, let me tell you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, it is in keeping. I mean, it does take them a year worth of patches before you can play through the thing with.
Yeah.
They have a ton of mods for it.
Oh my God, they have a ton of mods for it. But it's like it's the same engine as Oblivion, so Oblivion had a ton of mods for it too.
All right.
It's still better than Daggerfall.
Well, yeah, but Daggerfall had literally patches that numbered into the hundreds. So
speaking about patches and
this was before everybody routinely had high-speed internet connections. So
there's some
Spent
poor
more time
bastard
downloading
who
a
tried
patch.
to play that game on the retail release.
yeah.
So
not good.
if you like listening about patches, stay tuned for our new podcast where we talk about firmware updates for an hour and a half.
Actually, it was kind of interesting on EB. We sold Daggerfall for a number of years. We kept getting new copies of it. So it had some longevity to it.
You were probably the only store that we probably sent our copy to your store.
It's possible. We did. We sold Daggerfall and Civil War Sims.
Hey, did you guys get Gettysburg? Well, surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah.
We just got 5 more copies.
And people that bought Jane simulators and then brought them back because they were too hard.
Oh, yeah.
It took me 4 hours to get this thing off the ground, and I still crashed.
That
Here's
probably
quick-
was the right choice.
Here's Quicken 97. That might be a little bit more your speed.
Well, it was. They were very much on the level of you might as well learn to fly the real thing because you're kind of already doing it.
By the way, I'd also like to mention that the website Hardcore Gaming 101 does have a write-up on Leather Goddesses of Phobos. So
that's not hardcore gaming. That's like crusty gaming.
Wait, what?
It's crusty gaming.
Crusty gaming.
Crusty gaming. Leather Goddesses of Phobos came out 22 years ago.
That's current. In the galactic scheme of things.
I'm sure.
Hey, it was new when it came out.
Yeah, okay.
So crusty gaming, is that the
Crusty
official
gaming.
term?
Yes.
Are we talking like Krusty the Clown, or Krusty like crusty bread, or crusty in some sort of porn sense?
Crusty as in the cheese that is no longer appreciating in value, crusty.
Okay.
Works for
Well,
me.
thanks for that, Steve. Next up,
So speaking of getting your lowly girl fix,
Galgun, shoot a horde of schoolgirl admirers.
with your pheromone gun.
Okay.
And we're not making this up.
What are you, Cupid in training?
So it's an Xbox 360 on-rail shooter that pits you, the lonely high school student Tenzo, against a horde of schoolgirl admirers on a quest to find true love.
Oh, it's a rail shooter?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Love Potion number 9 with a gun.
Love potion number 69.
Yeah.
Really, we're just lucky whoever's making this didn't license that goo gun technology before Portal 2 got their hands on it.
So I'm sure this will be made into an anime OAV at some point.
I'm just surprised it's a rail shooter. When's the last time you actually saw a rail shooter?
Does Res count?
Sin and Punishment was. You were just talking about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this interests Brian, John.
Oh, don't put this on me, man.
Steve.
So who made the schedule? Oh, it's Mr. Murdock.
Yes. So
ordered the collector's edition then?
Yeah.
Yes, it comes with the full-size body pillow. And,
The Hikikomori edition.
yeah, actually, I'm actually kind of ashamed of this. I looked at the video of this game and thought for a second, well, I have an import 360.
Wow.
And then I thought to myself, well, people will actually see me playing this game, and I don't know if I want that. So either I'll have to create a different profile, no one can watch me play this game, or just simply not order it.
They're really not going to watch you playing the game.
Well,
they
that's
just
true.
know that you're online, if they care enough to see what you're actually playing.
Yeah.
That's assuming it actually shows it as an English title. And
Well, that's
not
true.
Just
It'd
in
probably be in
Japanese.
kanji or
Even
something.
so, I think the 360's focus on social gaming is working here, and it's applying the proper pressure.
So you make
You mean it's
sure that
picking up all the shit that nobody else wants to put out?
No, it's just keeping people from playing undesirable games through embarrassment.
yes.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure with my luck, all the achievements will be in English. I was playing Ketsui, and there's a level where you have to go through it like 10 times without dying, and if you do that, it unlocks the achievement All Your Base, and it's actually in English.
Not all games are putting that out in English, or at least not the achievement-wise. I mean, Hokuto Muso, it was all totally in Japanese with the trophies, so...
So next up, a buttload of Kinect games have been announced. Just to go over these real quickly, Rise of Nightmares by Sega, Brain Training. Wait, what?
Well, that makes sense, though. I mean, the first brain training game was on the DS.
Yep.
How different is that?
Just
All
a bigger
touchscreen. And
Yeah, it's just a bigger stylus.
Yep.
It's
And
like the size of a
and
broom.
people forget that half of Kinect is all the voice recognition stuff. And that was big on the brain training.
And also we have Project Draco, which is a Panzer Dragoon type game. I think it's done by the
What's
same people.
creator, yeah.
And Codename D, which is Suda51 weirdness, which I'm pretty sure that would interest John.
That's going to have to be bizarre. I don't know if it's going to be as mind-blowing as Steel Battalion with Kinect, but it'll probably give it a run.
Well, if Suda51 did Steel Battalion, I think you'd be set.
Wow. Man,
Only if the mechs were half organic and they exploded in bloody...
And they were your mom.
Steel Battalion is your mom. I think we have the Photoshop now.
It's going to be on the back of one of the mechs. Your mom.
Yeah. Spelled Y-U-O-R.
She's going to be like a pinup on the front side of the...
So I know you have you have some interest in these Kinect games, Brian.
This seems like an interesting set coming out, though. I mean, it's definitely a much more diverse crowd than we're seeing for the Move.
It's definitely different than what we heard about it.
Well,
E3?
Yeah, I was thinking C3. Yeah, E3.
Well, it's kind of weird that they're announcing this at TGS, too. It's like
It's very strange.
Yeah,
but have you seen the actual ads for the Move, like the TV ads for the Move?
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah.
They're totally going after the Wii crowd.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
That is the market that they're going for with this.
And does the Wii crowd know how to, actually install a PS3?
Well, the Wii crowd has a Wii, so it's sort of strange crowd to be going for.
True.
Well, it's like they're trying to convert the PS3 crowd into the Wii crowd, and I don't know how that's going to work.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just that Microsoft refuses to give up on Japan. So if they come out with something new, they just push real hard on Japan because,
well,
if we just try enough things, one of them will work, right?
Yeah, they're just throwing shit at the wall waiting for something to stick.
Well, Microsoft can be very tenacious when they want to be.
Don't they know that
continue-
Japan doesn't care?
They will continue to bang their head against that wall until the wall gives.
Yeah, until there's a
So,
hole in there and
yeah.
their head's bloody and...
I did see the quote from Sony saying, no, we're not going to spend as much as Microsoft is on their advertising.
Yeah.
Well, they probably don't have as much as Microsoft.
Nah, nobody does. Even with as much money as Nintendo makes, they still can't compete with Microsoft.
Sony has the money. It just
It's doing its what's the game that Sony Online Entertainment just did? The new one. Somebody sent me an email about it.
the Clone Wars, Star Wars
massively
multiplayer.
Was it? Something like that.
I think that's the latest release.
It's like Sony Online Entertainment still doing MMOs because that's really been working for them lately.
Well, they'll just buy some other MMO and just, grind it into the ground.
Because that's been working so well. For
Yeah.
them.
I actually seem to recall a thing where they said they were going to stop buying other people's MMOs.
Yeah. Well. So next up, Bayonetta 2.
Are they running out of storage space?
No, they were running out of money because they never made anything from anything that they would buy. Everything they buy would die.
The problem with buying all your
death.
competition is
Yeah.
When you buy good games and decide they're not good enough, and then improve them, quote unquote.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. So next up, Bayonetta 2, which would interest John? I know.
Still haven't played the first one yet.
Really?
yeah, ditto.
Didn't you guys
sequel
buy
to
it?
a somewhat successful franchise?
I don't know.
I don't know if it was successful.
bought-
Was it successful?
I don't
played
think
the-
it was successful because the game price on that thing dropped like a rock.
Well,
I played the demo for it, and I really felt like I should have been on cocaine when I was doing it. So
Really?
it would have made the action happen at a human pace. So
you can put it on an easier level.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't slow the game down. I mean,
It's not
literally,
really that fast.
It's a very fast game, considering that the characters and the background all pretty much have the same color palette. So things are moving around. They might be enemies. They might be not be, but they're all running. This isn't Altered Beast. They ain't walking toward you. They're all sprinting.
Now, I didn't have any trouble with this game, so I don't know what you're doing.
Rise from the earth!
Ow.
And
No,
Not
from your
enough
grave.
cocaine, apparently.
From your grave.
Rise from your grave.
It's been a long time.
So next up, Nobunaga's Ambition Online. This is apparently a thing.
Well, when
So-
you got that much ambition, you want to share it.
So
How long has it been since there was a port of Nobunaga's Ambition?
I don't know. It's been about a week. I think we're about due. That's about as often as Nobunaga's Ambition comes out.
Just be surprised if it is another Romance of the Three Kingdoms game.
Oh, I'm sure there's another one of those coming out.
It's going to be on the Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
Really now?
No, it'll be on the PSP. Because that's where those games are going these days.
Yeah.
So love Nobunaga's Ambition and want to play it with two of your closest friends? There you go.
I guess.
Two of your closest friends in Japan, maybe.
Yeah. So if you don't mind one turn lasting 75 hours,
Well, yes.
you're set. So next up, Button Mashers Rejoice. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 announced.
Wow, they're still making these too?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just bought Tekken 6 at Best Buy for $10.
Woohoo!
Totally worth $10. I wouldn't say any more, but
Is it still in the wrapping?
no, I actually took that out and tried it. I figured it wasn't going to take me more than an hour to figure it out and play it, so
Would you buy it on Xbox 360?
yeah.
Ah. So any love for Tekken? I know that you and I play it, Brian, but
I haven't enjoyed it as much since 2. 2 was the peak. It really was the best play, the best gameplay.
there
I
hasn't
think.
really been a really good fighting game that we've really gotten into other than Super Street Fighter 4, which I need to get back
Street
to
Fighter is
playing.
always Street Fighter. It's a guaranteed thing. They don't fuck with too much. They just add new characters and really good animation. And Tekken is like, it's become like the Madden of fighting games. They just release a new one every year or two, and they don't really do much.
Yeah,
to it.
why put a number? Just do like what King of Fighters did.
Yeah, it's Tekken
But even
2010.
King of Fighters was creative in that aspect. Every 2 games, they would try and change it up. Like I liked a lot of the positive numbers, but not as much the
What
negative
did
numbers.
they do for the ones in between?
That's when they fucked up.
It's like the Treyarch version of Tekken.
Just
Yeah,
play,
it's like, yeah.
play King of Fighters 97 and then play King of Fighters 98, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah, they just experimented a little too much, a little bit in the early years there, but
But
the newer characters they brought in 2000, 2002 are pretty cool. 2003 was okay, but I don't know. I didn't
King
get
of Fighters
into it that
13,
much.
I'm really looking forward to. That thing
That looks
freaking
really
sweet.
cool. And I saw that I might actually buy one of those controllers for the PS3 so I can go over to Alex's and play some fighting games since he has all the stuff on the PS3. But they've got the King of Fighters 12 and the just the standard Neo Geo PS3 controllers for like $40. Really good for a fighting stick.
Yeah. By the way, the Super Street Fighter 4 for the arcade did announce Yoon and Yang as playable characters in the game.
Hell yeah.
And when I saw that, I'm like,
they brought in Guy.
I'm screwed.
Yeah, they brought in Guy. They had to bring in
your
some more
best
fast
character.
characters. Yeah.
Like, I'm fucked.
Nothing like smacking somebody upside the head with a skateboard.
By the way, we need to fight.
Them's fighting words.
That's right. Brian and I have been playing fighting games since Karate Champ, I think.
The two of you may be keeping the genre alive.
It's just you and I,
Started
Brian.
back in, it was like 96, 97 in a little college arcade.
Yeah, well, Brian and I have known each other since the war.
Yeah, I saved his ass in Nam. But we
Yeah.
don't like to talk about that. Because that's
Doesn't remember
Fighting
anything.
word?
fighting game.
It's too busy hopped up on Jungle Mushroom.
We'll come up with something funny later on. I mean,
Thank God for
just
that.
just guarantee
That
that.
unlimited ammo bandana.
Just splice it in.
Okay, all right. We'll get our audio engineering group on that right away, John.
No. Make sure to record it on a busy street and then just put it in. It'll
So-
blend.
So our last bit of news, the DRM-free game site GOG.com is gone. I read about this on Slashdot, but didn't know anything about this site
It
until...
would be known as Good Old Games.
Did any of you order anything off this just out of curiosity?
I had this bookmarked for a while. Next time I got a free weekend, I wanted to go on there and buy Outcast because I've been meaning to play that for a decade.
Well, kind of late for that now.
Guess it's
Well,
going to be
it's-
2.
It's kind of disappointing because they were doing a really good job of making it easy to play these old games. And I mean, just finding the patches for these old games can be a real hassle these days. The smart money looks to be that they were actually bought and not went out of business because they...
Yeah, they're claiming you're going to be able to play these games if you bought them or downloaded them.
Well, I mean, they've got the thing up where you're going to be able to download the stuff you bought real soon
Yeah.
now. But there was a very recent 5% purchase in the holding company that owns all of them. The fact that they couldn't say anything and it was a sudden, just drop, it sounds like, the kind of blackout period that happens before
Yeah.
companies get purchased. And it sounds like they might be relaunching with a different, not DRM-free model. One of the more interesting bits of speculation I heard was might be Valve, which would actually make a lot of sense if Steam wanted to have a whole
be
back
really cool.
catalog of old games that worked on new systems.
Yeah.
Isn't Valve DR? Isn't Steam
Steamworks
DRM?
is very much DRM. yes.
That'll I'm sure that'll make the Slashdot denizens have seizures.
Well, they can't get it on Linux. That's why.
I can't read Slashdot anymore. It's gone so far down the pit of mindless libertarianism now that I just can't even watch it anymore. A little bit of libertarianism I'm okay with, but it's just gone into that herpa-derp level at all times, and I just can't read it anymore.
Herpaderp, huh?
Which is herpa-derp. Which is sad because of my extensive experience with Slashdot.
and
It is disappointing for me, though, because if it does end up with Steam, I can't buy it because I've got my long-standing grudge with Steam. And I've also got a copy Outcast on the shelf. I was mainly wanting to pay them the $5 to not have to go through the effort of making the thing run.
You're going to put that on your grave. Never liked Steam.
You'll need to you and Steam need to have a solemn ceremony with some sort of treaty.
I'm going to put you in a room together
trading
and not
of-
let you out until you figure it out.
Trading of reparations or some such thing. You can give them an island and they'll give you,
so did
license to their
I have
oil
to give you a
fields
PC
or
intervention.
so where did Steam touch you?
something. Yeah.
Right
show
on the
us,
Half-Life 2.
Hey.
show us on this Diet Coke with cherry can where Steam touched you.
Did
I don't know.
Gabe-
As you can see, my gaming machine my gaming PC is pretty much kind of dead. It continues to argue with me that running is the way that computers are supposed to happen, and so it's pretty much consoles for me, except for apparently Minecraft will run on OS 10. So
Okay.
Well, I
Or
think it's
OS X.
Java.
It is.
So
Yeah.
not really a lot in the
And-
demanding hardware requirements there.
yeah, I don't know. I still have to give that thing a try. I've known about it for a good while now, but
It might still be free this evening, so it'd be a good time to give it a try.
It may be. But I think I will either don't like it at all, or I'll have the same problem that Gabe is having. Oh no, I'm in real trouble.
Well, I always wanted to write that game, so the fact that somebody else made it is pretty exciting.
You got all the benefit with none of the work.
That's what it feels like.
That's awesome. All right, so next up is our yearly feature of Care or Don't Care. Just going to go over a couple games here. The Last Guardian, now that we've actually seen video of it, I know that you probably care about this, John.
Yeah, I think this might be the first game in probably 5 years that I'll buy new.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks cool.
You going to buy it new?
I don't know if I'll buy it new, but I do want to get it eventually.
And Steve does not own a PlayStation 3, so...
I don't know what the hell this game is either, so...
It is
sequel to Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh.
So Eco with Crazy Bitch and Shadow of the Colossus with...
Dead Bitch.
Yeah, Dead Bitch. And this one with...
Pet Bitch.
What, Lufia?
Yeah. I think we've described all 3 games. That's very good, John.
Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah. So, anything else you want to add to this game, John? Because I know you're a big fan of the Eco franchise.
Yeah, I've watched the trailers, but don't really know anything about the game or how it's going to play. I just have faith.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going off the Penny Arcade game because they're like, there's only 2 ways that this game's going to end: either the boy dies or the dog dies.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lassie, it's you or me.
So next up, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Now that we've seen video of it, is that relevant to your interest?
So you're on this 3D Castlevania train this time around?
No.
Better be relevant. I pre-ordered it.
No, I'll wait until the low review scores come in, and then I might buy it. I might buy it, used.
Speaking of faith, I have a good feeling about this. I think it's going to be a pretty good.
Yeah.
It looks really good the way it plays, and it's got that whole God of War feel, and I love playing God of War. It was a fun game.
I've been burned so much by the 3D.
Yeah, but you look at the names of who was making it back then, and you add Kojima to the mix now. And
yeah,
you
but
add
that
a few
just means
new
it's a Castlevania with 15 hours of cutscenes.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Castlevania
Castlevania
movie.
movie.
Cutscenes for this, so I've got higher hopes for that reason
It's going to be, Simon Belmont's going to whip the Metal Gear.
Snake!
It's going to be Simon Belmont in a cardboard box hiding from Dracula.
Unlimited whipping ability with his leather headband.
His headband.
I don't know. I saw the video for this, and the demo looked really cool, and it looked like it played really well. So I pre-ordered it for that, and because Amazon, if you do pre-order this game, you get a $20 game credit towards whatever else you buy through them. So
yeah, they've been doing that on a bunch of things.
Oh, it's not just that, but they finally, and I heard rumors about this months ago. They were going to do a release day shipping option.
They've been doing that for a while. It's just they cut the price on it, is what they did recently.
Oh, okay. I never noticed it before. Granted, it's probably been 6 months since I bought a game through them. Release, new game. But I saw that offer on there, and I was like, 99 cents to get it on release day. That's fucking brilliant. Okay,
so you can spend the $20 card on Galgun.
No, I pre-ordered Brotherhood Assassin or Assassin's Creed 2 or whatever that is.
3.
Now 3, I guess.
And he's not even drinking, folks.
Well, it's
Assassin's
not really
Creed
3.
2.5.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5.
But
I got a whopper of a headache, so I can't think straight right now. But,
I was thinking of picking. I'm kind of unsure about the Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood of Steel, whatever it's called. So
it looks cool. It's going to be Assassin's Creed basically with multiplayer and some other cool options. But I figured to get $20 off of that, it's going to knock it down to the price I was going to pay for Castlevania. So
that's true.
I'm still waiting for them to release Assassin's Creed 2 Complete Edition.
Oh, the Game of the Year edition.
Well, no, that's actually what they called it in Europe when they bundled the DLC with it, which kind of makes you wonder what you call the original edition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the DLC is just
still working on an edition.
I think the DLC is like only 2 missions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which show up in the timeline, and in the original one were just skipped over. Hop.
And they have no achievements. They have no achievements.
Downloadable content out of
them.
people. So
They have no achievements associated with them. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
It's still better than the Dragon Age DLC. Here is an interesting quest that you need to do to save my family. Would you like to download it now?
Well, it was what's weird too is Ubisoft's doing this thing with the Usoft or Upoints or whatever the hell it is, where you go to their actual website. And it actually does this in the game itself. When you first load the Assassin's Creed 2, you have the option before the game starts to go to their website, as long as you're connected online. And any games that you there's certain objectives in the game that you accumulate U-points, or what do they call them, that their own website points. They're trying to create their own kind of website that connects all their games and allows you to get points and achievement things through them. But you take these points and you can buy either a bigger satchel of throwing knives, or you can change something on your outfit, or you can unlock the dungeon that's actually below your family homeland that you find in Assassin's Creed 2. And I did that option thinking it'd be really cool, and it was kind of a letdown. I mean, it's cool that it's basically a challenging acrobatic thing
obstacle
you go through.
course thing.
Yeah, you learn. But as you achieve each obstacle, you get to learn a little bit more about your family's move, how you got to where you got to become an Assassin's Creed 2. It just kind of fills in the gap from 1 to 2, so you know how it happened.
So do we want to add any predictions for Assassin's Creed 3? I'm
wonder
thinking
if they
Japanese
recycled that
Samurai.
from Bloodlines then, because that was also the same thing. Was the gap between 1 and 2 was that PSP one?
Probably was. Yeah, and I've heard good things about Bloodlines too, and I still haven't picked that up. But my ally was talking to Alex about it. He said he had a lot of fun playing it, and it was actually pretty well done.
So Assassin's Creed 3, Japanese Samurai, Mafia Boss, Slacker, Assassin's 3.
I don't know how much farther the Renaissance can go, really.
I don't know. Assassin's Creed 3, you could like end up in the body of like some hipster.
Yeah, neckbeard.
Playing Assassin's Creed 2.
That's very meta.
It's very Kojima.
That's true.
You're gonna end up in a Scott Pilgrim movie and be an assassin there.
It's probably gonna be some Russian mafia thing at this point. It's like the only avenue left.
Yeah.
Well, they keep heading west, so they have to continue heading more west.
And they can't do the Old West now, because that's going to be old hat.
Yeah.
Samoa.
Yeah.
Civil War.
You're a Hawaiian assassin, and
Civil War. I'm
You must
telling
take
you.
out the big kahuna.
Civil War would be pretty interesting, and that's one that's only had a bare handful of games that have worked.
Were there assassins in the Civil War that climbed up buildings and did what Ezio did, or kind of hid in a foxhole
You'll be
and
right
just
there in the back of the theater. It'll be great.
yeah.
There won't be any
There's only
backlash
one
at all
level in
about-
Assassin's Creed 3, and John just ruined it for you.
Yeah, it'll
It's
be
gonna be a really short game though.
it'll be
But the graphics will be awesome.
you got to run around Atlanta before it entirely burns to the ground, killing people.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be like a modern day. Well, it's gonna be like a past Tenchu, I should say.
So, last up, Vanquish, which is a game by our good friends at some company that I just don't remember what. I just forgot
I think
what
they're
the name of the company.
Japanese because it's got that stupid missile swarm thing.
You mean like
Macross missiles.
Sylphid?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Project Sylphid. Project Sylphid was just Macross missiles over and over again until you got to a cutscene.
Yeah.
So
Didn't you like Sylphid, or did you not like it? Or
I liked it
to
for
a
about
point.
I liked it for about a half an hour. I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. And I think it's more of a fact that I hadn't played a good space sim in like forever.
Much less good any.
Yeah.
I got to that mission in the clouds where you had to take out that fortress, and I couldn't find that damn thing. And I just got so tired of looking for it. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this shit.
Well, and the other problem was that when you're in the space battles and you've got your little radar thing, the whole thing's full of red dots. You don't have to look for anything. You just point in one part of the sky and you've probably locked onto something. So, and then you got in between the fights, you got cutscenes. And your normal Squeenix type cutscenes.
By the way, have you put in Fable 2 again?
No, I did not. I said fuck it, and I deleted that save. So
Really?
Yeah.
You could have been like a hobillionaire.
I could have been, and I decided I didn't care. So
Does this mean you're not going to pick up Fable 3?
I don't think so.
Ah.
I will enjoy all the media about the crazy cool things that he's saying that he's going to do with it, and then everyone's saying how
And then
they're not that
redact it
cool.
later, saying, "Oh, by the way, maybe you should have, done this thing."
Well,
that I
he'll-
failed to mention that was in the game.
Yeah, he'll redact it saying, "Well, you should have paid more attention to clothing." So,
Although he's been quieter this time round.
man, well, just wait till we get close
Well-
to release, and then
Well, isn't Milo keeping his
it'll
mouth
be
shut?
herpa derpa all over again.
You really need to see if that domain name's taken, herpaderp.com.
Yeah.
So anything else? Anything else we want to add?
I've been seeing the stuff about Never Dead, which looks like that could be an unusual take on an action-adventure game. Makes you wonder how they build challenge into a game where the main character can't die. But did see one of the odd screenshots where you're rolling your disembodied head. Well, that's a big part of the game.
Oh, okay.
It's like you can literally cut off your own arm and like throw it, and it'll start shooting wildly. Or there's one bit there where
I guess you have to worry about it shooting you because dead. So
it doesn't matter. You can't die.
It's just that wild card that you love.
If your head gets detached, you can still roll it around and try and collect your other body parts, and it looks like they kind of stick on.
Okay.
So they've got one weird screenshot where it's got
like goo.
2 arms sticking off the head, 2 legs sticking off the head, but haven't found the torso yet. I gotta wonder how that's all gonna work.
It's like a Beetlejuice game.
It's like a weird Katamari Damacy.
You could, for instance, let the demon gnaw on your arm while you shoot the others because it keeps it distracted, and it's not really a problem for you.
This sounds like the perfect game for you.
This is going to end up on a "this will damage your children" list somewhere, some November.
Oh, you mean like? No. Well, you mean along with Mortal Kombat 9?
Yeah, and apparently Pedo Bear. So,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the whole Pedo Bear thing.
Yeah.
There was some news reporting on like some Florida.
Is in California. Actually.
California TV station that's like, watch out for Pedo Bear, and they're thinking Pedo Bear is real.
Yeah. They're thinking that the people that dress up in Pedo Bear outfits at Comic-Con are actually trolling for little kids.
Well, they are.
So it's like, watch out for this. You know,
Truth in advertising.
Well, they're doing like the whole 80s thing where like some bumper sticker means you're part of something, part of some, strange underground group. And so if you have like one of the little static stickies of Pedo Bear on your car, it means that you're trolling around for kids or something.
And if you're a teenager with a
that's
friendship
exactly what you would
bracelet,
do
you're
is announce
swapping them for
yourself.
sex.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because that's what pedophiles do is they advertise.
This is why letting the cops on the internet was never a good idea, because they just don't know how to do anything.
This is once again derp.
This is where you come in as a consultant for hire by the police to break it down and explain to them what they're looking for.
No, don't give them our secrets.
Yeah.
Well, who said you're going to give them the secrets? I'm just saying get paid as a consultant.
Yeah.
What you do and decipher.
Everyone knows that in order to be paid as a consultant, a prerequisite is not actually knowing what you're talking about.
Most consultants are full of BS.
I deal with them all the time, so I understand where you're coming from.
I want to know if the cops are still trolling the AOL chat rooms.
I'm sure they are, or Yahoo. The Yahoo chat rooms used to be where they were trolling around too. I have to always tell people about when I was
Craigslist.
Yeah. Well, that's the attorney generals that are trolling on Craigslist. But I have to keep telling people about my early days in BBSing when, if you met somebody online and they said that they were a girl and they were a teenage, they probably were. So, which was great when you were a teenage boy. So
that's where I go to look for my PAX parties.
Right?
Wait. Oh yeah. Hey, how'd that turn out?
That's Craigslist.
How did that PAX party turn out?
Yeah, how did that PAX orgy turn out? Nobody ever heard.
My secret
was
word is
2-player
orange.
productions there?
Yes,
God,
they were.
I hope not.
Well, as I said,
It's a sea of neckbeards everywhere.
there was that update to it that said that single guys need to stop sending in requests to attend. So
That's probably all there were.
They should have put that up front, really.
yeah, I don't.
Disclaimer.
Obviously, a first timer.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, that is it for Die Hard Gamer Radio. Join us again next time for whatever it is we do around here.
If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
That would require me to know. The hell if I know.
Thank you for listening to Die Hard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.